Welcome in to episode number 5 of The Wolf Way. Tom Throp, head coach Justin Hilton here of the Westridge Wolves. Coach coming off a big road win. You're now 4-1 on the season. Anytime you go into someone else's house and come out with a victory, that's a big day.
Absolutely. We knew it was going to be a challenge. Coach Jenkins, one of the premier defensive coaches in the area, we knew they'd be geared up. It's a kind of a rivalry game there. So, Yeah, we were happy to get out of there with a win. The way it started, things were in doubt for a little bit, but we ended up getting some stuff corrected and had a good night.
Defense showed up and played extraordinarily well all night long. Started the game stopping them. They punt to you. You've got to go 99 yards and come up with, 17-play drive and put points on the board. That's a real encouraging start to a day.
Yeah, it was a good statement, especially with what we're doing. So you can get conservative when you're backed up down there. I thought that Nick did a good job of calling those plays, got us out of the hole, and then that kind of opened the offense up a little bit. And you talked about our defense. Our defense was kind of a makeshift kind of deal right there with Orlando was out, Nathan Arnold was out, Jackson Walsh stepped in, Jax Brown stepped in, Billy Hawkins played quite a bit. So all of those things together, I was just super proud of how our defense gelled and played.
And the entire game. And I know, Boone put some late points on the board, which is great for their team, but you had a lot of guys on the field getting some playing time against their starters.
Oh, yeah. They're really, after the third quarter, a bunch of starters we pulled offensively. Amix didn't go back in, and we started subbing there, and then late in the fourth quarter on the offensive side, got some freshmen in on the offensive line and some sophomores who hadn't played as much as we would like for them to. And then defensively, when they made that drive, we had some young guys in. And when we sub, we still expect those guys to play, and we don't expect the other team to lay down. So it was good experience for them.
Let's talk a little bit more about the first half because, again, you get that big drive and you put points on the board, but you go in at halftime only up 7-0. It was kind of the jostling back and forth and couldn't get, as you got things going, there were penalties or other things that moved you back. Defense was consistent, as we talked about, but halftime obviously made some great adjustments.
Coach Murray made some good adjustments with the offensive line. Not all of it was schematics. Some of it was just having a conversation about the way we were playing, and I think everybody got on the same page, and we came back out in the second half, and things looked much better and looked much more like the way that we had been playing earlier.
This offense, and we talk about it each week, and we're going to. This is an offense that, as you talked about just a moment ago, the word patience has to come into play, both for your players and for the fans, to realize that it may not be a big play all the time, but if you get 3 and 4 yards out of it, you're getting first downs and moving the ball with the opportunity to break that big play. Again, it goes back also to decision making, partially in calls being made, as you said, by Coach Copas on the offensive side of things, but the execution by your quarterback, Justice Hilton, again, outstanding with what he pulled off Friday night.
Yeah, Boone was geared up. They were going to stop Ethan Amix. I think they had 5 guys within the 2 A gaps in there, and so they were gonna try to slow him down, which he still ended up with 80 tough yards.
Yes.
But when you do that, you're leaving yourself vulnerable for other things, and Justice made some good decisions. I think he ended up with like 192 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns.
Right.
That's what we got to do. We got to make people pay. If they're going to commit to one thing, we have to be good enough in the other areas to make them pay for it.
And this is an option offense, so there are a lot of options that come into play, and sometimes it's the quarterback keeper, sometimes it's the handoff on the dive, sometimes it's the pitch or the toss sweep, however you all want to call that, and we can throw the ball out of this offense as well, but the options that Justice has at his disposal as the quarterback, he's been quite proficient, especially knowing he's a sophomore, but all season long making great decisions.
Yeah, it's been good, and I expect him to continue to grow in that role and get better as the season goes, and pleased with where we're at right now, and pleased with the depth that we're starting to build at the wing back and the B back positions. And nobody, Nathan Arnold's out at tackle. Peyton Martinez quietly slides in there at left tackle, and we still have 383 rushing yards.
Yeah.
So proud of that guy, stepping in and showing what the future is going to look like. We miss Nathan tremendously, but really proud that Peyton could step in there and play like that.
And again, on the road, a big win. And as you talked about moments ago, it is a rivalry game. This is the next door neighbors, and it was a rivalry game between Boone and South when South was in existence and such. So it's still one for us in all sports. And to go in and disappoint, they had a good crowd. We had a great crowd.
We had a great crowd, and they're struggling right now. Boone is 3 short years ago. They were 12-0 and conference champions.
Yes.
So the bunch that seniors were freshmen when that was going on. But yeah, our crowd was phenomenal,
Yes.
and has been. It's been great.
Yes, no doubt. And students were there in mass with the Pep Club had sponsored a white out, and everybody's there in their white, and it was great. And the band was there in their full regalia, and parents and fans showed up, and Coach Richardson's underneath the the goalposts again, and lets us know quickly that extra points and kicks and stuff are good, faster than the refs do. Quite animated. And I want to touch on that. One of the things with the community, and you've talked about it quite a bit in earlier editions of the Wolf Way, we've got great sponsorship. We've got great sponsors that I know Coach Richardson goes out and works real hard to get those businesses to back us, and has done a great job of that. And we've got great community businesses that have backed the Wolves, as well as churches. And you take your team on Thursdays for team meals, and they get nourished both spiritually and food-wise. A great testament to the support for Westridge Athletics.
We live in a special place. We live in a place that it's probably not like a lot of other places are right now, but our community cares about us, and we've got a huge community now with the stretch of the North Zone, the South Zone, and the Central Zone. And we're going to these churches on Thursday night, and they're loving on these young men and presenting them with something that is going to stick with them a whole lot longer than football is. And I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of our young men, and really, really grateful to the community and all the churches that have done that for us.
And I'm going to bring it up again. It's also great to see, and I'm talking about Coach Richardson, who's as our athletic director is seemingly at every event that takes place athletically, but very visible for football underneath the goalposts, and a lot of fun to watch him. But again, we've talked about our principal, Dr. Leo's there, Coach Witcher's there, Mr. Gilbert's there. You start going through all Ms. Slagle's there, all sorts of folks from inside the building as teachers are there supporting the team, the individuals, their cohorts as coaches and stuff. It is wonderful to see.
It's a throwback. I mean, you think about when you were in school, I'm sure, when I was in school, it was the event. And that's what I love about football. It all builds up and culminates to a Friday night. Other
Yes.
sports play more games, and so they're still meaningful, but when you only play once a week, and your happiness is going to be dictated for a long time on that one night, it's awesome to have all of these folks investing in these young people, and our kids notice it. I sent Mr. Witcher and Dr. Whitinger and Dr. Leo a text after the game Friday and just thanked them. I mean, it means something when people show up and support, and especially people that our students look up to.
No doubt, very well said. And again, we appreciate seeing them in the stands and otherwise. It's great. And again, thank you to the businesses that do sponsor across the board. It's wonderful to see. And this Friday, you'll see them up on the big screen there at the Ridge. Also want to talk about another sort of looked over type of thing. This past weekend, both and go back to college and pro football, the kicking game. How important the kicking game is. The University of Tennessee would have defeated Georgia had a kick gone through. There were 4 scores by block kicks returned for touchdowns this past weekend in pro football. We've had a game that had a couple of kicks blocked. We've had other games that we didn't. This past week, we were 5 for 5. Samuel Burris hits 4 extra points. Carter Hobbs hits an extra point. You've got extra points that mean something. Kicking game means something. Once again, Caleb Mabb with a great job of punting. You've got Evan Manus doing a great job kicking off, puts them inside their 10-yard line a couple of times. Great coverage. It's part of the game in a bigger way than we don't pay enough attention to the kicking game necessarily.
We don't, and the saying is offense sells tickets and defense wins championships, but when you get teams that are pretty even, the kicking game's going to swing it one way or the other. Frank Beamer made a living at Virginia Tech playing Beamer ball and special teams and beat a lot of teams that he shouldn't.
Yes.
And as we get into conference play, special teams are just going to become that much more important. Again, Hayden Music steps in for Jace Arwood and snap.
Yes.
Isaac McGee does a phenomenal job holding. Our kickers are consistent. Samuel's consistent. Carter's consistent. Evan Manus could come in and kick if he needed to. Does a good job kicking off. And Caleb Mabb's averaging over 43 yards punting.
Yeah.
So, we've got to continue to work on that phase of the game and stress it. Because it'll win you or lose you a ball game really, really quick.
Absolutely. Getting into conference play this week. Finish with Boone. Now the real DB comes to the Ridge. You've got a conference game. It's a rivalry game, period. And you've got a team with speed that's not playing as well as they'd like to be playing right this minute as well. What is the Wolf way to beat DB in a big way? And then we're going to get into some specifics.
The biggest thing for us is just to be us. We're not going to let a game change who we are. Just as we learned in the Elizabethton game, situations can't change who we are. We found an identity. We've got to be true to that identity. Feel like we have good players. I feel like we have players who can make plays, and so we've just got to continue to be us and be our best version of ourselves and go out and not make mistakes, move the chains. We would love to eat up a little bit of clock while we're making those drives, but hey, we score on the first play, we're good with it. Defensively, we'll have to tackle well in space and get aligned, and again, special teams could be a major factor in this game because we've seen punt returns and kickoff returns for touchdowns. You go watch the Gate City Dobbins-Bennett game. That punt return changed the whole complexity of the game.
Yes.
So yeah, we got to be good in all three phases.
Your offense, you talk about what you want to do. What do you expect Dobbins-Bennett to do differently than Boone or other teams that have played you? What do you look for from them defensively to try to stop you?
I think that they're going to do what they do. They're when they played Gate City, and Gate City got in a very formation similar to what we do, and they started out in a six-man front and ended up staying in that six-man front. We have seen every defensive front known to man this year. So if I were to guess, I would guess wrong because I've guessed wrong every single week. So we just prepare for anything. So again, I don't know that it's as much about what DB does, but us being efficient.
Yeah. I'm going to be a little detailed with you on this. You talked about how Boone had 5 guys basically within the A gap, right in there to try to stop the dive. If DB's got a 6-man front, it creates space though. You have the guys in the gaps potentially across, but if your offensive line does what they do, you have that opportunity to break it.
Yeah, we saw a 6-2 from Elizabethton. We saw a 6-1 from Hardin Valley. We saw a 5-3 from Daniel Boone. We saw a 4-2 the first week from Tennessee High, and then they morphed down into a 5-man and then tried a 6-man. So, who knows? Who knows what they're going to be in? But yeah, we feel like we have answers, but those answers are only as good as our execution, and so we've got to be great at executing.
The Indians' best athletes, in my humble opinion, are at the wide receiver position, yet they tend to want to run the ball a lot, maybe more than they should if you were trying to be successful with their offense, because I think it has been sluggish at times, that our defense can do a lot with what it is they try to do.
They have excellent receivers, well-coached receivers. They run great routes, make big plays. I really like their quarterback. I mean, he's athletic, throws well on the move. And they run 10 personnel, 11 personnel, and 12 personnel, and then they have a wildcat package. So we're going to see a whole bunch of formations, a whole bunch of personnel packages coming in and out. It's hard to prepare for. Right. I'm not sure what you do. We're going to try to see what we feel like they do best and make them do something else.
I do know that part of their personnel packages coming in lends itself to the fact that they do a lot of two-way playing. Their starting receivers are also their starting defensive backs, and they feel like they're stronger at the defensive back position when their starters are in there, so that they will rotate more people on the offensive side than necessarily the defensive side. But that is something that can be exploited also.
Their secondary is extremely, extremely good. And they do play more guys both ways than we've seen them do in the past. They've played some different guys in different positions this last week, played some different folks at linebacker and in the defensive line and at defensive end. So they've shuffled a few things around, got a little more speed on the field. So Maybe that was because of who they were playing, not sure. But it's going to be a game that's going to come down to, I really feel like every game we play. We talk about it every week, but offensively executing and not turned over, defensively not just blowing something and giving them a wide open pass down the field, and special teams not giving up the big return.
Sounds like the Wolf way to me. It does. And again, 7 o'clock kickoff Friday night on the Ridge. It is a great, as you said, culminates this week in a big game. And this is a big game. First conference game.
First conference game. Should be a lot of fun. I'd probably get there early. Our guys are excited for another opportunity to go out and play, and hopefully we can get some of those guys back that have been banged up a little bit and been sick. And I'm proud of the ones who have stepped in, though. So if they're not, then the next man up is going to be our mentality, and just excited to get these guys out Friday night and see what we can do.
4-1. The West Ridge Wolves are 4-1 heading into Friday night against Dobyns-Bennett, and the Wolf Way is where you need to be. They're watching. Coach, congratulations on what's been done, and good luck Friday night.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. We'll be back with you next week on another edition of the Wolf Way.